How's it going, guys? This is Jorge Guerrero bringing you a PK Fire deck profile. Let's jump right into it. Alright, so starting off, we have the 1 tour guide and the 1 graph. The 2 seer you're allowed to play. Seer is probably going to be hit to 1 after Worlds. 3 Skarm, 3 Farfa. Farfa is the best utility card by far with Beatrice because it just disrupts your opponent so much. They try to make it an Xyz and you just, or a synchro, you can banish their tuner and get rid of it. 2 Alec. I don't need to play 3 because you play enough BAs, and then 1's not really enough. So like 2 is a good number. It's a free negate with Beatrice, so it's pretty good. And the 1-ofs, you play 1 Barbar. Barbar steals games. I absolutely love this card. This card has won me countless games. 1 Libic and 1 Calcab. Calcab's good because if your opponent doesn't really do much on their turn, you can go ahead and on their end phase, Beatrice effect, send Calcab and bounce back their back row. It'll probably be like a solemn notice or something, and they'll complain about it at the end of the game. They'll be like, "Oh, dude, I would have won if you didn't bounce back my solemn notice." Like, Calcab's good. On to the non-BA monsters. I got 2 Maxi. Maxi's just really good in this format. Decks love to special summon, especially in the mirror match. You can draw like 4 or 5 cards if they go off. And if they don't kill you, they gotta shake your hand because you're about to go off as well. 1 Talking Tom Borg and 3 Terratops because this is an instant Dante and it's so good. And it doesn't even require a normal summon. And even if you mill your Talking Tom Borg, these can still be used for your rank 3 plays, even though you would have to normal summon it then. They're not always dead, because you could always Fog Blade one of your Phantom Knights and then normal summon this, and then you can make something else. So they're not always completely dead. We got 3 Boots, the best PK monster in the deck by far, because it searches out your trap card, and the trap card is dual purpose. You got 2 Cloak. Cloak searches out your boots or your Ragged Gloves, and 1 Ragged Gloves because it makes your PK Phantom Knight Breaksword 3000 beater, and then it makes your Dark Rebellion Dragon a 3500 beater. Now, in this deck I play Kaijus. I main deck the Kaijus because they're just an easy way to out any deck that has a hard time, that this deck has a hard time with. For example, Cosmos, Dark Destroyer. Dark Destroyer is a bitch to get over. Or even if they play Dark Planet, like how do you get over that if you can't target it? So you just play 2 Gameciel because it's the lowest attack, so you can make Dante attack over it. And then you play 1 Cumulus because Cumulus is the 2nd lowest attack. If you have a 3rd Gameciel, you could just go ahead and use that for your 3rd one. And you play 1 Radiant. Radiant is because he's the strongest one that you can play, other than the 3300 beater and stuff like that. But the reason I don't play the bigger ones is because if you do, this is the only Kaiju you have, and you need to get rid of opponent's monster, and you can make a Beatrice. You can Kaiju, and they still can't attack over your Beatrice because he's only 28, but he's still strong if you're able to get him on your side. So that's why I don't play the bigger Kaijus. Because if you play the 3300 one, he could attack over your Beatrice easy. Onto the spells. Play 2 Allure Darknesses for draw power. You play a ton of darks in this deck. Just look at all that dark right there. So Allure Darkness is good. Reinforcement of the Army, it searches out any one of your PK monsters. Just speed up the deck. And then we got 2 Kaiju Slumber. This is just a dark hole on crack because it searches your opponent, or you can search your Kaijus with it when this card is not sent to the graveyard the same turn you use it. So I just like to make Beatrice, and then on your opponent's turn send it to your graveyard, so you can on your turn just add a Kaiju. 3 Twin Twister because we don't like back row, we don't like solemn notice, we don't like that. And then we can easily plus off it with the discarding effect. And then we got 3 Fog Blade. because it finishes off the engine, and it's Phoenix Chain, and it special summons our monsters from the graveyard. So this is just a good trap card, and it's all you need. I realize this deck profile is coming out a little late. I've topped every tournament in the past month for my locals, and I took first place in the UDS tournament, and I just wanted to show off my deck profile before it actually gets hit. Because after Worlds, you can guarantee this deck is going to get hit. Konami doesn't like decks that stay around for too long. So we got my cool Pokemon tokens. Shout out to all the Pokemon Go players. Alright, for the extra deck, 3 Dante. Sorry about the gold ones. I don't really care to pick up the secrets because Dante is probably going to get hit to 1. And you got the 2 Beatrices, because this is the reason why this deck is so good still. It's just an amazing card. And other decks are trying to play this just because it's how good it is. And you play 2 Break Sword. Break Sword is just general removal, and then you can go ahead and use this effect, special summon out 2 PK monsters. They become level 4s. Then you can make Dark Rebellion Dragon. The Dark Rebellion Dragon just gets big as fuck. So like it gets rid of a lot of high attack monsters. 1 Grand Pulse. It gets rid of back row. Say they have a rivalry and then you need to get rid of it. And the only way to do that is like a Terror Top into Talking Tomborg, and then you can make Grand Pulse because they're all machines and they can get rid of it. 1 Levier. Levier combos with your PK Fire stuff because you can banish it, and then Levier effect, special summon it back. So it's just good combo plays. 1 Utopic Future because you can play it, and it can steal a Dark Destroyer or a Blue Eyes or something like that, something big. 1 Nightmare Shark. This is my favorite card in the extra deck because it steals games in time. In time, you need, it's like turn 5, and all you need is to do a little bit of damage, and you're like, how do I win? How do I get over his board? You don't need to get over the board. You just make Nightmare Shark and attack through him. Game. 1 Giga Brilliant because it helps with the OTK potential. All your monsters currently on the field gain 300 attack, which is a huge boost if you think about it for all your monsters on the field. That's ridiculous. And then 1 Digital Bug because you can overlay onto Giga Brilliant, and then you can spin back one of their defense monsters. So probably their Beatrice. You can send their Beatrice back to the extra deck, and they won't get their effect to float. And then 1 Pilgrim because this card is really good. Allows you to play on your opponent's turn, and then gives you draw power. And then it rips a card out of your opponent's hand when it gets sent to the graveyard. So that's it for the extra deck. It's 15 cards. And the main deck was 42 cards. I don't really care about it being 42 or 40 because you go through the deck so fast with the milling and the searching. It's really not that easy to brick. It's really hard to brick. I probably have bricked 1 to 2 times like this entire time, this past month, for all the tournaments, because this deck is just so consistent. It's probably the most consistent deck I've ever played. So for the side deck, I play 1 Dark Law. Dark Law shits on everything. It banishes cards from your opponent's hand when they draw. Every deck likes to draw now. Even like in my deck, I play Allure Darknesses and Blue Eyes. They like to draw a lot. In the mirror match, this shits on them because they can't go to the graveyard. They don't get any effects. It's pretty good against Blue Eyes too. It's a way to make sure that none of their stuff goes to the graveyard, so they don't send their egg to the graveyard, especially some of the Blue Eyes or Monarchs, so they can't send their prime to the graveyard and then use the prime to continuously have a monster on defense. The prime is probably the most annoying card, so this card just gets rid of any problems with that. 2 Majesty's Fiends. This is a no thank you Cosmo. I would shake my hand. The only way they get over this really is if they have a Regeki, or they have like a Sword Trooper in hand and that E-Telly, so they go into another Sword Trooper and make Acid Golem, or maybe they have actually, I really think that's the only way they can get over it. You guys can remind me if there's any other ways they can get over that, but this card shits on Cosmos. 2 Ghost Reapers. Why did they even make this card? This card is absolutely so good in the mirror match. If it's pretty much whoever cherries the other person wins. That's what it comes down to. Like, this card is just broken. They shouldn't have never made this card because it gives other decks like no reason they should, like the Cosmos play this card and then they have an extra deck they can get rid of my Dante. Like, I don't think other decks should be able to do that. Like, to me, this is one of the worst designed cards by Konami. Like, it's totally OP. 2 Effect Veiler, a Flying Sea, and the 3rd Maxi. Maxi is really just for the mirror match, or say a Dolce or something like that, and something like the special summon all, up the butt. And we got 2 Cycle Reader for the Blue Eyes match. It's really just to get rid of their eggs, and just if they want to dump Blue Eyes and then they want to Silver Cry it back, you're just like, nah, son, get that shit out of there. I don't want that. And 1 Deck Devastation Virus because you can play it. 1 Deep Dark Trap Hole. I play this just because of Monarchs. It just banishes them out of. So like, it's just a good card to me. I like the effect of banishing. Banishing is just, to me, it's the most efficient way of shutting your opponent out, because if something goes to their graveyard now in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, they can still play. But if you banish it, it's harder for them to play. And then 2 Mass Change Second to go along with the Dark Law. And that's the deck profile. Let me know if you guys have any comments. Thank you for watching.